Let's grow together. With that, please welcome once again, Reverend Martin.
I heard about an elderly woman who was staying in one of those courtyard-style hotels. You know, you look out your window and there's the pool. And on the opposite side of the pool, you can see rooms. And she called up the front desk, very agitated, and said, "I want you to send a manager up to room 301 right away." Well, the manager came up and said, "What seems to be the problem, ma'am?" She says, "I want you to look across the way over there. See that window? The man has his curtains wide open and he's walking around stark naked." The manager looked and said, "Well, yes, ma'am, I see, but honestly, you can only see him from the waist up." And the woman said, "Don't you sass me, young man. You get on top of this table and tell me what you can see." Well, one of Yogi Berra's most memorable aphorisms is, "Sometimes you can see a whole lot of things just by looking." And it's a clever expression, but sadly, and perhaps mostly, the opposite is truer. We do a whole lot of looking without really seeing very much. Seeing implies more than just having good eyesight. Our eyes can be wide open, and we can see very little. There's so much to see, but are we seeing what we want to see? Now, we don't always see what is there, but what we think is there, or what we think ought to be there. Depressed people, for example, can look at a big glittering pile of gold and see only burdens and problems and regrets. Angry people can look at the same glittering pile of gold and see unfairness and envy. The person who sees big glittering piles of gold every day may yawn and shrug. People who are well-adjusted can look at that and be happy and expectant. It all depends upon the mindset of the person doing the looking. Now, we're bombarded by visual stimuli every day. There's no way we can actually see it all. So we learn to filter out what we deem unimportant, and then we focus on what we think is important. Now, the psychological term for this phenomena is selective attention. The brain is always processing so much information that it needs to be selective about what it takes in, what it focuses on, what it processes. So it automatically picks out the information that seems to fit with what we believe and what we might see, and it discards the rest. But what if we've made the wrong decisions about what it is that's important and what isn't? Well, we know that if we look for the bad, we'll see plenty of it. But if we look for the good, there's more of it to see than we can possibly take in. Furthermore, you don't really see with your eyes. You see with your brain, which is controlled by your mind. When I was in college, the psychology department conducted a rather curious experiment. They gave the study participants special glasses, and they had fitted in them prisms, which made everything look upside down. This was very disorienting. But after about 3 weeks, the participants adjusted to this new way of looking at things, and they were all seeing normally. And then they took the glasses away, and suddenly everyone was seeing upside down again. Well, we say that seeing is believing, and yet no one really knows what seeing actually is. There is no light inside the visual cortex, which is responsible for sight. That area of the brain, like every other, is a semi-solid mass that knows only perpetual darkness. There are no pictures in your brains, only a firestorm of electrical and chemical signals. And how we convert photons striking the retina into visual images is largely unknown. And since the same holds true for our other four senses, the fact is, reality itself is up for grabs. Now, we tend to think that we're seeing things that are solid, that are substantial, that are real. But really, we're looking at things that are energy in form. Every atom in our bodies, in the chair you're sitting on, in this very building, every atom is more than 99% empty space. And the less than 1% that is there is spinning around so fast that it creates the impression of being solid. Our brains simply aren't fast enough to see that every so-called concrete object is winking in and out of existence thousands of times per second. And therefore, we see solid objects where none exist. Now, neurology tells us that the brain creates 5 senses and everything they tell us. There's literally no light, no darkness, no taste, no touch, no sound out there. Only what we create in here. So, what are we to make of a reality in which seeing isn't believing? In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes writes, "But the eyes of themselves cannot see. The mind within does the real seeing, the real interpreting of what the eyes look upon. The eyes can truly be called the windows of the soul. They typify the ability of the mind to discern and understand. As the light of understanding dawns upon us, we have a habit of saying, 'I see, I see,' meaning that we mentally discern. God sees, and that is the only mind there is. There's one perfect seeing, which is now seeing through you, which is now seeing through me." We've all heard the old adage, seeing is believing, but really it's the other way around. When we believe something, we'll see it. And what coaches and athletes believe they will see is a big predictor of their success or failure. In a textbook called The Sports Psychologist's Handbook, Linda Bunker states that winners see what they want to happen, while losers see what they fear might happen. Sports psychologists then spend a lot of time teaching players to see victory. Business consultants and life coaches do the same thing. They are basically vision people who try to impart a success vision to their clients. It's all about seeing life from the highest possible perspective. And sometimes you've got to climb up on top of the table in order to see. Of course, this type of focus is easier said than done, especially if you want to do it consistently. It can take months or even years to train the mind to focus only on what it wants versus what it fears. We must learn to see what we want to see. Ernest Holmes again. Whatever we think, act, believe in, feel, visualize, vision, image, read, and talk about. In fact, all processes which affect us at all are going into the subjective state of our thought, which is our individualized use of universal mind. Whatever goes into the subconscious state of our thought tends to return again as some condition. So we, and we alone, control our destiny. Most of us look at the same old things, and we see the same old things. But God says, "Behold, I make all things new." And the people who get ahead in life, the people who are using their God-given creativity, are looking at the same old things and seeing something new, something good, something life-changing. Your view must always be new. So, see what you want and get what you see. Visualization activates the creative process within. And visualizing your goals and desires accomplishes 4 very important things. First, it kickstarts your creative subconscious, which will then start generating creative ideas that will help you achieve your goal. Second, it programs your brain to more readily recognize the resources you'll need to achieve your dreams. What you need is already here. It's a matter of seeing it and recognizing it for the opportunity that it is. And so your brain will be able to see things that you might otherwise have missed when you're visualizing. It activates the law of attraction, thereby drawing into your life the people, the resources, the circumstances you'll need to achieve your goals. And fourth, it builds your motivation to take the necessary actions to achieve your dreams. Visualization, properly done, works because your brain can't tell the difference between actually doing something or being something or having something and vividly imagining it. But many people find that effective visualization doesn't come easily. When they try to do it, their mind wanders and drifts, and they have trouble focusing. So here's a simple 3-step process that anyone can use effectively. Step 1, imagine that you're sitting in a movie theater and the lights dim and the movie starts. It's a movie about you living your best life now. See as much detail as you can. Notice anything that's going on in the room, how you're dressed, what you see, what you hear. What about the other people that might be around you? See yourself surrounded by limitless opportunities. Think about the sounds you'd be hearing, traffic, music, other people talking. Listen for just the right bit of information that you need to inspire you. And finally, recreate in your body any feelings you think you'd be experiencing if you were living your best life right here and right now. Step 2, get up out of your chair, walk up to the screen, open a door in the screen, and step into the movie. And now experience the whole thing again from inside of yourself, looking out through your eyes. You're no longer watching you. You are in the movie, watching everything from the inside out. This is called embodied image rather than a distant image. And it will deepen the impact of your visualization experience. And again, see everything in vivid detail. Hear the sounds you would hear, feel the feelings you would feel. And step 3, walk back out of the screen that is still showing the picture of you living perfectly, and see yourself going about your day. See yourself moving around in a field of infinite possibilities, being aware of which possibilities are right for you, and see yourself utilizing these possibilities for your benefit. Realize that what you've seen, heard, and felt, all of this is being transformed into your reality by the law of mind, which is, right now, processing the order you've placed in your creative imagination. And when you finish this process, open your eyes and go about your business. When you make this visualization part of your daily routine, you'll be amazed at how much better you'll see the opportunities that are already and always around you. So that's our process of manifestation for anything that we wish to have in life. First, we choose what we want to see, and then we vividly picture it in our minds, and then creation occurs, and it shows up as our reality. Just like the old woman getting on top of the table, it's about seeing things from a higher vantage point. The spiritual masters of the ages are said to have gone to the mountaintop, from Jesus to Moses and all the others. It's been said that it's easier to go downhill than to go uphill, but the view is from the top. Our great religions have been given by the few who climbed the heights of spiritual vision and caught a fleeting glimpse of ultimate reality. Growing up, we used to sing a hymn called Higher Ground. And one of the verses says, "My heart has no desire to stay where doubts arise, where fears dismay. Though some may dwell where these abound, I'm moving on to higher ground." So the view from the top is a bigger picture. We see more and we see further. You may recall that over the years, driving through the southeast of the U.S., you may have seen signs, typically painted on barn walls or roofs, for Rock City, Lookout Mountain, a point at which it was said you could stand in one spot and see 7 states. Well, when you're spiritually seeing from the top, you can see all the main qualities of God: life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, and joy, and more. The view from the top is a clear view, and a clear view is the most important factor in achieving your dreams. As Emerson said, prayer is the contemplation of the facts from the highest point of view. A higher vision within. On my office wall, there's a mirror that's etched with letters. It looks like an optometrist's eye chart. And you don't see right away what it says, but if you stare at it long enough, it will occur to you that the message is, seeing within changes one's outer vision. Seeing, truly seeing, implies more than having eyes that are physically healthy and open. We all see the outer surface of things, but what's beneath isn't automatically seen. If we had to settle for only what we could physically see, we'd never make any progress in life at all. It is within us that we can really see what we want to see. Ernest Holmes again, it is the law that the person who sees what he wants to see, regardless of what appears, will experience in the outer what he has so faithfully seen within. Someone sent me a children's book from England. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And it's sort of like Winnie the Pooh. It's written for kids, but it has good adult messages as well. And one of the characters says, "Isn't it odd? We can only see our outsides, but nearly everything happens on the inside." So let us learn to see as God must, with a perfect vision. And what does it mean to see as God sees? It means that good is all you see, and it means that you see the infinite potential for good in every person, every place, everything. Several years ago, a man found thousands of acres of land that weren't being used for anything productive. No crops were being grown, no subdivisions or golf courses were being planned, and the people who owned the land never bothered to do anything constructive with it. They saw it as being worth very little. But this man saw it as no one else had seen it, and he decided it was extremely valuable. So he bought the land at a price that reflected what the various owners saw, and he developed the land based on what he saw. We don't know the former owners' names. We do know the name of the man who bought their land, Walter Elias Disney. During the grand opening of the Epcot Center, one Disney executive turned to the other and said, "I wish Walt had seen this." To which the other man replied, "Oh, but he did." It's said that Walt Disney was once fired because he had no imagination. And maybe at that point in life he didn't have much. Maybe his imagination wasn't well developed yet. But we all have a creative imagination. It's just that some of us have developed the ability to see in our minds better than others. But it's so important that we work at it. In the words of Einstein, imagination is everything. It is the preview of coming attractions. The track star, Marla Runyan, was a two-time U.S. Olympian, three-time national 5,000-meter champion, former American record holder in the indoor 5,000 meters, American record holder for the heptathlon, I had to look that one up, 800 meters, and a high jump best of 5 feet 11 inches. In 2001, she co-wrote and published her autobiography, No Finish Line, My Life as I See It. Well, she has an impressive resume for anyone, but when you realize that Runyan is legally blind, it places her accomplishments off the charts. She began losing her vision in 4th grade. After about a year of visiting specialists and being misdiagnosed, she learned that she had something called Stargardt disease, a juvenile form of macular degeneration that causes progressive vision loss. She says, "My response was like, oh, it's not a big deal. I was telling my parents, I can do this, I can do it. And at that point, I didn't really have a concept of what vision I'd lost. It happened so slowly, so I was adapting, and I was figuring out other ways to get by, so I just kept saying, it's not a big deal." Now, Marla had been doing sports from a very young age, so continuing with these sports, despite the diagnosis, seemed natural to her. She did gymnastics, swam, and played soccer. And when the day came that she could no longer see the soccer ball, she gave up soccer and began her track career. After retiring from competitive running, Marla used her experience to help others, working as an ambassador for the Perkins School of the Blind in Massachusetts and as an assistant coach in Northeastern University's cross-country and track and field programs. She said, "I believed that if I worked hard enough, I could overcome anything. There was always this concept that if I just had the right tools and the time, I was going to figure anything out and I would be able to overcome it." And all the while she was losing more and more of her physical vision, Marla Runyan's inner vision was growing larger and sharper. As amazing as our physical sight is, and really it's one of God's greatest masterpieces, it is nothing compared to our mental and spiritual vision. What did Walt Disney and Marla Runyan have in common? They were able to look at the same old things everyone else was looking at, but they saw something different. G.K. Chesterton once said that familiarity is the greatest of all illusions, and that the secret to a productive life is to learn to look at familiar things until they become unfamiliar again. In other words, we open our eyes to a higher vision. We open ourselves to wonder. What do you see when you look around your world? Do you see poverty and wretchedness? Or do you see unlimited possibilities and opportunities for everyone who's willing to be dynamic and forward-looking? Do you see hatred and division? Or do you see the lovable in everyone? Do you see land that's worth nothing? Or do you see millions of tourists spending billions of dollars, creating thousands of jobs, and creating wealth where there was nothing? Do you see poor, unfortunate people with what we call disabilities? Or do you see people who have abilities far beyond those that we might have? Do you see your world as a place where disease and aches and pains are to be expected? Or do you see perfect health as being perfectly normal? When we see what we characterize as bad, we need to remember that great affirmation by Emma Curtis Hopkins. This too is good. This too is God. And I demand to see the blessing in it. Remaining faithful to our vision is what the Bible means when it speaks of keeping your eye single, focusing only on the things that we want, and not being distracted by those things that we don't want. The Bible also states that God's eyes are too pure to behold evil. So when we're seeing with God's eyes, we're not looking for the bad, we're looking for the good, and we know that whatever we seek, we find. Decide what you want, and then practice seeing it. See it regularly. See it several times a day. Well, what if you're the type that doesn't see things as much as you think about them or you feel them? Well, thanks to technology, we now have new ways to create new pictures. Photoshop can put you anywhere in the world or out of the world. Create a picture of you standing in front of your dream house, maybe lying on the beach in Tahiti. You can Photoshop yourself into anything, so don't settle for something small. In the words of Michelangelo, the greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that our aim is too low and we reach it. If you get a clear view of the what, the how will take care of itself. But if you wait to see the how before you set your vision, you're probably going to be out of luck. You can't frequently see the how because it doesn't show up until it needs to. And the how is none of our business. God has ways and means, and it will be done unto you as you believe, not as you insist it must be done. God does not need our advice. In the book of Genesis, we read that at every stage of creation, God looked and saw that it was very good. And when we look at things with our spiritual eyes, we can see the good that's waiting for us, even when things seem utterly hopeless. As it is written, all things work together for good to those who love God. No matter what's happening in your life, the minute you lift your vision to something higher, your world becomes a better place. When we learn to choose our views, we are choosing our experience of life. It's the views you choose that determine whether you'll win or lose, because what you see is what you'll be. There's nothing wrong with the divine picture, but you may need to climb just a little higher to see it properly. High achievers have higher visions because they have a higher perspective. If, in your imagination, you can perceive it, you can achieve it. If, in your soul, you can see it, you can be it. And if you can see it in living color and in high definition, you can believe it. And if you can believe it, you will receive it. So choose your views and let this be your song for life. I'm pressing on the upward way. New heights I'm gaining every day. Still praying as I'm onward bound. I'm viewing life from higher ground. And so it is.